37 Dharma teachers all across the Northern America gathered right here at our One Dharma Center for the gathering 2022 Gen X Dharma Teachers Conference. Do you know what Gen X is? X generation. And I was honored to be part of that group where we talked about emerging Buddhisms to past, present, and future. From that gathering, I learned that there are quite a few Buddhist sects I was unaware of, like Vajrayana, Triratuna, and so on. It was interesting to see some teachers with blue eyes whose lineage is directly related to Korean Buddhism. I learned about their joys and concerns, many of which were similar to my own. It was great to know that there are like-minded, ordained people out there, although their skin colors are different and their Dharma lineages are different. We are all walking together on this path. And you who've come to this service today are also invited to walk on this Dharma path together. This morning, we are happy to have our guest teacher, one of the Dharma teachers from that conference, Reverend Rinsen Roshi from the Great Heartland Buddhist Temple of Toledo. He'll talk about the essence of Zen Buddhism. Now our gathering begins with the Qigong movement, so please stand up and welcome Jason.
Good morning. The theme of walking on the path, maybe we can move quickly into a circle if you feel comfortable walking around. I know there's cushions in the way, but we'll do our best to make a modified circle. And we're just going to practice doing mindful walking. So we can all just start slowly walking around in this direction. And we're going to be noticing the of a step. Your heel touches down and it rolls to the arch. Your weight shifts and then your opposite leg raises in the air. Just be mindful of your steps as you're slowly moving around the circle. Notice your heel. The weight shifting and the opposite raising. Pay attention to your breathing as you're slowly, mindfully walking. Notice the inhale and the exhale, and all the four parts of the step. Add a little bit of a Qigong movement to this. I'll demonstrate here in the middle. We can inhale and raise our arms. Then step and exhale down. Inhale, step. Exhale, step and lift the arms. Inhale. Still paying attention to the 4 parts of the step. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And if you want to make it a little bit more challenging, when you inhale, the other leg right behind this one and challenge your balance a little bit. And then exhale and do the same with the other one. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. When you inhale, and you can be mindful of your straight posture. Exhale. Inhale. Sun rises in my being. Exhale. My being. The sun rises in my being. The sun sets in my being. Inhale. Encourage you to take this breath. And now we could all face the ill.
Our Qigong stretching ends with bowing practice to the Dharmakaya Buddha fourfold grace. You may join your palms together in standing posture and standing bows. The grace of heaven and earth. Grace of parents. Grace of fellow beings. Grace of laws. Now, please turn to your neighbor Buddha and let's greet our neighbor Buddhas with our smile. And please mindfully go back to your seat and take your seat. Take your time to find the right posture for your sitting practice. Kathy will guide us with the method of seated meditation, followed by 20 minutes of sitting meditation and sutra chanting Heart Sutra.
The method of sitting meditation is simple and easy. Sit comfortably on the floor or in a chair. Breathe in. Grab all your tension and breathe it out. Open up your chest and heart. Stretch up tall and align your spine from your neck to your tailbone. Relax your shoulders and arms, then allow your hands to rest on your knees. Bring your attention to your breath. As you exhale, release all mental and physical tension. Invite your attention to abide in your chi energy field, which is called Danjan. This is located about 2 inches below your navel and is the power center for your breathing. Open your eyes and gaze downward over the end of your nose and to the floor. Keep your mouth closed and allow the tip of your tongue to rest gently against the roof of your mouth. When your mind is concentrated and calm, pure and clear saliva may gather in the mouth. You may swallow it. Relax your facial muscles and notice your gentle smile. If your face or body begins to itch, do not scratch. This is just a sign of the energy circulating in your body. Simply note the itching and let it pass. If your legs ache unbearably, you may change position very slowly and quietly so that you maintain a calm stillness and do not interrupt others. When thoughts arise in your mind, do not be discouraged or disturbed by them. Simply focus on your breathing without reacting to or playing with those thoughts. Recognize them as thoughts. They will disappear by themselves. And remember, keep bringing your awareness back to your Danjan breathing center. If you continue practicing meditation for a long period of time, you will rest in the realm of samadhi, deep meditation, in which the mind is calm, concentrated, perfectly focused, and at peace, with no distinction between self and others, time and place. We are grateful to sit quietly together, finding the still point within. May we be here now, aware of our ever calm and ever alert spirit.
When it comes to meditation, there are many forms. Now please join us in Sutra Chanting Meditation, page 5. Today we'll chant Heart Sutra. Page 5, Heart Sutra.
The Heart Sutra, the Bodhisattva of great compassion when practicing deeply Prajnaparamita realized that all 5 aggregates are empty and thus became free from all suffering and distress. O Shariputra, form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. The same is true of sensations, perceptions, impulses, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They do not appear or disappear, are not tainted or pure, do not increase or decrease in emptiness. No form, no sensations, no perceptions, no impulses, no consciousness, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realm of eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, or mind consciousness, no ignorance, nor extinction of ignorance, no old age and death, nor extinction of them, no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cessation of suffering, no path, no wisdom, no attainment, with nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva relies on Prajnaparamita, therefore the mind has no hindrance. Without any hindrance, no fears exist, free from delusion. One dwells in nirvana. All Buddhas of the past, present, and future rely on Prajnaparamita and attain supreme enlightenment. Therefore know that Prajnaparamita is the great mantra, is the great enlightening mantra, is the unsurpassed and unequaled mantra, which is able to eliminate all suffering. This is true, not false, so proclaim the Prajnaparamita mantra, which says gone, gone, gone beyond, far beyond. Now awaken, gate, gate, para, gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha, gate, gate, para, gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha, gate, gate, para, gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha.
Now I am very happy to introduce our special guest teacher, Reverend Rinsen Roshi, to you. So let me give you a few more information about him. Reverend Rinsen Roshi is an abbot of the great Heartland Buddhist Temple of Toledo, where he serves as the senior priest and head teacher. He is a fully empowered Zen teacher and is acknowledged by Reverend James Myeon Ford Roshi in both of Roshi's lineages, the ordained Soto Zen lineage of G.U. Kennett, and Koan introspection lineage of John Tarrant. Additionally, Rinsen's Dharma teaching is influenced by his long-standing study, practice, and teaching of both Aikido and jazz music. Rinsen Roshi is also an associate lecturer with the University of Toledo, where he joined the faculty in 2006. So please join your palms together. Let us welcome our guest teacher. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much for being here and for practicing the Dharma. And thank you very much for Wan Center for hosting conference and for being willing to take a risk and put up with me being here in this way. So, trying to find some way to understand Dharma and trying to find some way to express Dharma in a way that is useful, trying to find some way to be in community and to realize Dharma. This is one of the things that came out of the conversations this last weekend. Many, many forums. Like a beautiful fish tank with all kinds of crazy fish going all different ways. But everyone's fish. Everyone's in the same water together. Everyone is swimming upstream together. And so it's a great joy to practice in this way. I was asked to say, well, what are you going to talk about? And the jazz part of me says, I don't know. And but he's like, no, what are you going to talk about? How about essence of Zen? Sure, very good. So we'll see. The founding master of Zen tradition is commonly thought of as Bodhidharma. This is a character who brought the teaching of awakening from India up into China. And there are many myths and tales around this adventure. But one of the trends that seems to be clear, whether Bodhidharma was actually like a dude doing a thing or whether Bodhidharma was a movement, something happened that we can still feel today. And that has to do with not just having an intellectual or academic appreciation of Dharma, but actually direct experience for yourself of Dharma. And so, as it is told in my tradition, this was the great impetus for the teaching of awakening, the experience of awakening, the technology of how to do that, to move from its native Indian homeland up into China, you know. And so from there, the teachings of the Buddha kind of mushed with the teachings of the indigenous wisdom tradition in China, called Taoism. And so when the Buddha Dharma kind of connected with Taoism, something happened. And we see this in every culture, every place where the Buddha Dharma goes, it meets a culture and a people, recognizes the wisdom that's there, and a new expression comes. A new kind of fish with a funny little stripe suddenly comes and joins the swim upstream. And so it is said that this teacher or this movement said something like, Zen is a special transmission outside of words and letters, direct pointing to mind, seeing one's true nature for oneself, and attaining Buddhahood. So that's kind of like a bold claim. It's putting it out there. And let's maybe unpack a touch. A special transmission outside of words and letters. Ironic, Zen has got way tons of words and letters, much literature, tons of writings. What is this without words and letters thing? What is that? The suttas are just incredibly beautiful and to be honored. We chant the Heart Sutra every day in our temple at home. What is this pointing to? Perhaps that the words themselves are not sufficient. They are necessary. We must have some understanding of Dharma. We have to have some sense of what we're doing. This is very challenging for many of us in the West. We have very little, if any, context. But ultimately, we have to go from cookbooks to a meal. And the cookbooks are awesome, some better than others, but it's food. But we need the actual meal, yeah? How do I get me some? I'm hungry. How do I actually experience some of this Dharma? And so then we come to this direct pointing to mind. So all of the forms and all of the rituals and the liturgies and everything involved in Zen training, all of it, if it's real, in some way is constantly pointing the practitioner to their own mind, to their own self. And this can be very ironic because, my wife, Reverend Dawn, and I just spent a couple of days in New York City before we came up here. Lots of people running around, lots of stuff happening, lots of things crumbling, lots of things being built. Why is there any need for any direct pointing? Isn't it all over the place? But actually, there's a great need to know how to be still. There's actually a technology to it. And we very much have this in common. In our tradition, the beginning instruction is always put the mind at the one point in the Tanchen and begin to concentrate in this way. Same beginning instruction. But this pointing can become a fetish. We can start to collect pointers. We can have a cool cabinet with all the little pointers that we like. We don't take the ones we don't like. We shine them up, we look at them, we show our friends. We make some consolation to ourselves. We're okay because we have this collection of pointers. But still no meal. What is it pointing to? Enough with the pointing. It's only so helpful. After a while, it's a very ironic thing, but a Zen teacher has to stop pointing. Maybe the practitioner becomes too dependent on getting pointers all the time, and we can mistake that Dharma is going and getting the teacher to point something. So the teacher says, no, yourself. Then what? And so, seeing into one's true nature, this is the essence of practice, in my experience, in my training. The word we have for this is called a kensho, and this means seeing into the nature of the self, where you actually, not as an abstraction or as a thought, but as an experience, have some taste of your actual true nature. The fish suddenly realizes it is the ocean. It's not separate from the ocean at all. So damn, wow. I've always actually been right at home. And so is every other fish, even that fish I don't like and that fish that scares me a little bit. And these fish that I'm friends with. Actually, all the fish is just the ocean with eyes, walking around, swimming around. Sometimes we say it's like the waves, The wave is a separate wave. Of course, there it is, this wave, that wave, the other wave. Big wave, small wave, lonely wave, wave with too many other waves around it, feeling compressed. All waves. But imagine the wave suddenly has eyes and suddenly has ears and sees the shore coming, like, oh no. this wave is going to hit the shore, and looks at the other wave and thinks, oh, that wave's better than me. I want that. I'm better than them. Look at me. I'm such a wave. What a wave am I? And then suffering, dukkha, trapped. And then one wave says, wait a minute, and turns the eyes inside and looks in and sees ocean. I had no sense. I thought I was my skin, like the surface. That's me. Yeah, but also look in. You see the entire ocean is you. Now, to be clear, when that happens, the wave doesn't poof into a beam of light and disappear. The wave is still a wave, dude. It's still its own wave. And it understands directly, oh, wait, I'm water. It's all water. How about that? And here I was worried. This is something like the experience. And then this is not sufficient, though. A practitioner can guide and train and make koan and see ocean and then become stuck. Wait a minute, I don't like being a wave. I'd rather just be the ocean, thanks. All the other waves, bye-bye. But no. The bodhisattva this is not acceptable. No, because you know what? The other waves are still suffering. And that suffering is real. It hurts. And those cries from pain, those are very real. So the bodhisattva then comes out from seeing the ocean, realizes the timeless, the placeless, the boundless, yes. And then comes into time and place with boundaries and says, how can I help? How can I now help? And this is realizing our true nature. And what's really crazy about the whole thing is you've always been it. You've never been anything other than that. It's always right here. It is not the case that enlightenment is you add on some other app to yourself and suddenly you count. This is not the case. It's simply kind of letting go of the silliness. And then arising. So in our tradition, this experience of awakening is not considered to be a myth or a fable or for other people. This is an incredibly human thing. It's like sweating or sneezing or having lungs or something. It's what the living do. It's what humans are. And yet, we need some way to interface. We need some way, because the ocean is so vast. It's so imminent, but it's so like not what the wave expects, that we need other waves who've done this, that we can check in with and we can connect, So lineage becomes a really, really important thing. I hear so many times my Wan brothers and sisters talk about my founding master says this, second ancestor says this, my teacher says that. And for a lot of us, how do I say it? For a lot of European descent Americans, we have a very difficult time relating to that. It's very challenging, not for everybody, but like by and large, our country is kind of built on kind of a big middle finger. Oh, you're royal and you have an army, well, middle finger. No, we're not your colony anymore. You have to pray and worship this way? No, middle finger, we're not. I mean, it's kind of in our, right? And then also fleeing from something and wanting to disassociate from the old country. Or being dragged here against your will. How about that? So what is lineage if you don't know? So perhaps your ancestors are dragged here against their will and you literally are shut off from your people and your ancestors and you can't know. Or, for example, in my home, I asked, when I was very young, I encountered that there's the German-American Festival and the Polish-American Festival and the Irish Festival, and Mom, what are we? What festival do we get to go? We are nothing. We're nothing. Just have your bag of Fritos. Like, for real. Kind of, oh, okay. We're just Americans, that's it. Now, what I didn't know is that my father was very German. His dad came off the boat from Germany, and just after World War II, being German was kind of uncool here. A lot of trouble, a lot of trauma around this. And so shutting off any heritage. You understand? So I'm just saying this because all of us in this room, when you encounter Dharma, you're encountering lineage. And sometimes we idealize and think it's perfect. It's not. And sometimes we're really scared of it because it threatens something we can't name. But it's one of the truths that you need a wave who's done the work of realizing the ocean. You must. I mean, every once in a trillion humans, maybe somebody doesn't, but very rare. And so, lineage. My teacher's name is Myoen Ford Roshi. His teacher's name was Jiyu Kennett Roshi, and on like this, right? So we say, I give thanks for the guidance of my teachers and the lineage of teachers before them. We express gratitude for their willingness to put up with us. And some of us are a lot to put up with. But they do anyway, because they know. You're just a wave in a little bit of trouble, but you're still the ocean, just like me. It's okay. You come. And then this quality of a wave that is seen that it is the ocean, it expresses. We say, I give thanks and offerings for their devoted practice of generosity. This paramita, this perfection of being generous in every way, like truly giving person. A quality of character starts to become important. It's not enough to just disappear into the ocean and say nothing matters. Things matter. How can you tell you have a wave that is generous? A wave that is morally disciplined and correct, stops the bleeding, is able to actually stop doing the things that harm themselves and harm their friend waves. No more. We have the precepts. And this is a very good one, patience. And the perfection of patience of the Bodhisattva is not just kind of like waiting for this guy in a beard to be done talking as gracefully as you can, but it's actually like this. It's a very powerful, very, very powerful presence. Like we say, holding space, but it's an active, non-responding. Something like this. And this one takes all the oxygen away from anger. Sometimes the students have a big anger, sometimes me. Yeah. And then when you're angry, you cannot just suddenly, I'm a compassion. It's too much. Like, no, I'm not. But you can become patient. And you can just go from being really outraged to being like annoyed. And then you can go from maybe being annoyed to just being slightly miffed. And then you can go from maybe slightly a little bit miffed to just like, okay, neutral, right? And then from equanimity, then you can start to move towards kind, and then towards compassion. But to go from here to here, it's too much in the moment. And a joyful effort. This is a really important one because a lot of bodhisattvas, the world is so burning, right? There's so much that needs attention, and we can go doing and doing and doing and doing and doing, and we crush ourselves. How can effort come effortlessly and have this smile, eyes of kindness in the midst of a ton of lifting? What is joyful effort? See? And then the last ones I'll speak of, concentration. This guidance we all received and practiced together, put the mind in the one point. And we heard Jason the other day teach aim. It's a good word, very good word. Aim. Yeah. And then that concentration, that mind of concentration, has the possibility to look in and see the ocean. If the mind is scattered, it cannot see anything but what's outside. This, that, the other. Ooh. It's always senses. I like it, I don't like it, I don't care about it. The concentrated mind can actually let go and can go inside and water. Yeah. Then you can become skillful. Then you can meet a situation and have some sense of how to be useful. And sometimes when you can see you're not very useful here and you can step aside and let someone else. The vow of the Bodhisattva then becomes unshakable. This vow, it shakes, but it's unshakable. Like a massive tree in a huge wind. Yeah, it bends a little, but it ain't going anywhere and it's not breaking. This unshakable vow, this quality, right? You become able to radiate Dharma so others can cool out a little bit and dig in a little bit. And it really does not have to look like a funny robe and stuff. That can be a trap too, for sure. So spiritual power comes, for real. And this awakened awareness that is always used, the Bodhisattva always uses awakened awareness for the benefit of others. So with a mind that is then renewed, the world can be renewed and revitalized. Because we are all interconnected, one, then compassion can come. So may it be so for all of us, all our funny-looking fish. May we swim together.
Thank you, Reverend Rinsen Roshi. From the first day I met you, you made me surprised 3 times. The first day I met him, he was wearing short pants with his beard and Zen robe on his heart. So there's what first surprised about him. And then last night we had something called No Talent Show. All the Buddhist, teachers gathered, and we had that No Talent Show, right? And he played his guitar. My guitar actually. Impromptu, right? Such fine jazz music that surprised me. And just now, after listening his talk, you surprised me with your grandpa smile and laughing, with delivering such fine Zen essence. And among his many points, I like that one, joyful effort, that stays with me. So, it is special occasion that we have guest teachers outside of one Buddhism tradition. So if you have any questions, now it's your time to ask him. I think we have about 5 minutes. for this Q&A session. No pressure though. Although I really want one or two people ask a question.
Please.
I have a question about lineage.
Yeah.
What happens if you've been practicing on your own for many years,
Yeah.
but you can't tell people that you're a student of this famous person and that famous person, like you don't. So I don't know really what you mean by lineage. Does everybody have to study with some great teacher, or can you just have a lot of teachers and still be a serious practitioner without coming from a specific lineage?
Sure, yeah, beautiful question. Beautiful question, yeah. First of all, I would like to remove the famous bit. Sometimes the famous teachers you have to really be careful about. I prefer the not so famous, It's good to be known. I mean, teachers have to let folks know they exist, but that's one thing. But I would say it like this, inherently you are already Buddha. From this perspective, you don't need anybody. You're it. However, realistically, to realize that and to give it life, it's very easy for us to miss it, right? So having guides and having community, this has always been essential. The Buddha said the three treasures, right? Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, teacher, the teachings, and community. Sangha is so, so important, right? So just as important, and when I say lineage, it doesn't only just mean, my famous teacher, but it means my beloved Sangha. This is absolutely essential in my view, right? And so I liken it to, say, a young jazz student, right? If they want to really learn how to play, it's not enough to listen to the records and play in their room and get their chops. Maybe they got some chops, but you got to go play. And so you go play with Miles, And so you go up there and you're playing with Miles and you're getting your butt kicked, but you're learning, And then all of a sudden, Miles says, all right, this band is done. And now you got to go start your own band. And the Dharma is like that. It's really like that. So somewhere along the line, you need to play, and you can play with lots of different cats. It's all good. But there's some thread of connection that is like the heart main connection, yeah? And it can be very difficult, especially when there's trauma and there's abuse and there's funkiness and, we're people. So, but my feeling is that somewhere along the line, it's necessary to find that connection. It may very well be that over time you have very deep influences from many traditions. In fact, I think this is really healthy. Myself, even after receiving full Zen empowerment, I went and sat at the feet of Gelek Rinpoche in the Tibetan tradition to cross-train. So it's all good. Yeah. Does that help? I hope so. Yeah. Please, someone else? Please. Oh, how did I find my first teacher? Well, so I grew up in Toledo, Ohio, right? No Zen teachers there back in my day. That has changed. But I moved to Boston to go to music school, yeah? And I had heard about Aikido as this really evolved spiritual art, which also wasn't in Toledo in the 70s. And so when I went to Boston, I thought, perhaps Aikido is now I can have access to, right? And so I picked up an ancient rune book called a phone book. There was such a thing, child. And I opened this phone book. And I looked, you had to know the alphabetical. You couldn't, M. Marshall, and then Aikido. Oh, yeah. And it turned out there was actually a legit Aikido sensei. And so I went down there and I was like, oh, wow. I mean, for me, it's in my key, right? So I love it. And so I began training. He was a disciple of an actual Zen teacher. And so because he was a real practitioner of Zen, then I got connected with his teacher and then began training, interestingly, Catskill Mountains. And so I would commute from Boston to the Catskills to do retreats. And that was my deal for like 15, 20 years or something. And then it moved on. So, lucky accident, but kind of karmically determined. Kind of both. Does that help? Yeah.
Thank you. So let us keep reminding us that we are actually waves and the ocean, the water. And one way to remind ourselves of that is do essential dharmas of daily practice. So let us recite this together. Page 6. Essential dharmas of daily practice. Page 6. 1. The mind is originally free from disturbance, but disturbances arise in response to sensory conditions. Let us restore the equanimity of our true nature by letting go of disturbances. 2. The mind is originally free from delusion, but delusions arise in response to sensory conditions. Let us restore the wisdom of our true nature by letting go of delusions. 3. The mind is originally free from wrongdoing, but wrongdoings arise in response to sensory conditions. Let us restore the precepts of our true nature by letting go of wrongdoings. 4. Let us replace disbelief, greed, laziness, and ignorance with belief, zeal, questioning, and dedication. 5. Resentment into gratitude. 6. Let us turn dependency into self-reliance. 7. Let us turn reluctance to learn into willingness to learn well. 8. Let us turn reluctance to teach into willingness to teach well. 9. Let us turn lack of public spirit into eagerness to serve the good of all. One announcement about our upcoming retreat. So this is last call for Reverend Song's Tai Chi retreat held in this coming week from 21st to 24. So this coming week from Thursday through Sunday. He will come and lead this Tai Chi. The title is Empowering Our Mind and Body Through Tai Chi Practice. We'll close the registration by tomorrow, Monday. And another retreat is coming over the Labor Day weekend, and you're welcome to sign up for that and find more information on our website. So this concludes our Dharma gathering with our special teachers today. Hope to see you next Sunday, all.